LSU, Bama. Wow, what a matchup it is going to be for both of these teams. Remember, last season's matchup between Bama and LSU was incredible, as this rivalry is considered to be awesome. This is Sports Guy talking that you guys are watching and listening to. I am Dustin Tran, your host, as I am here today to talk about LSU going up against Alabama at their place. Even though LSU has already lost 2 games this season, they are still considered to be an excellent football team led by quarterback Jayden Daniels. In the case of Alabama, this is a must-win game for them, as they cannot afford to lose this game since it will ruin their chances of making the college football playoff this season. Before I say anything else, though, I want to present you guys with a topic question. So, here it is. Will LSU beat Alabama for the second straight season? I think yes. There is no reason why LSU cannot beat Alabama. I know some people are going to say, whoa, what you talking about, Dustin? How can you possibly say that LSU is going to beat Alabama for the second straight year? Didn't you hear that Alabama is the greatest dynasty ever? And my response to that would be, yeah, absolutely. I think Alabama's dynasty in college football is one of the greatest dynasties ever. But here's the thing with Alabama's dynasty. They're done. They're no longer in their dominant run. They're still a good program, yes, but they're not a dominant program the way that they were once upon a time. When I was growing up as a kid, I feared Alabama each and every week because I knew that Alabama could come back at you at any given time and they could dominate on any opponent they wanted to. They were basically Georgia before Georgia. However, when you look at Alabama now, I don't really fear them. I think they're a good program. I don't think they're this invincible, unbeatable program. I think that if you can play a good football game against Alabama, you can go ahead and beat them. I know Alabama's only lost 1 game this year, but that one loss that they had, that was against Texas. And you want to know why Texas beat Alabama? Because they were able to control the clock and make the plays down the field when it mattered most. And most importantly, they played good football when it mattered most. You look at Alabama's most impressive wins this year, and I've been thinking, man, there was a lot of bad football being played, especially by those opponents. I mean, Ole Miss sucked the life out of football against Alabama, okay? Ole Miss had a terrible day on offense. They couldn't get anything going on offense whatsoever. There was a lot of poor execution, a lot of poor play calling. Defensively, they didn't show up when they were supposed to. And then you look at the Tennessee game, they lost that game because Tennessee didn't know how to convert their 4th downs. If they knew how to convert their 4th downs and take advantage of the opportunities that they were granted to them, they would have beaten Alabama. There's a reason why they had a 13-point lead on Alabama heading into halftime, and they blew it because they got burned on defense and they couldn't get going on offense in the second half. And also, they beat Texas A&M not because Bama dominated Texas A&M, but they beat them because A&M made several mistakes throughout the game. I thought their coach Jimbo Fisher did a poor job coaching them boys up against Alabama. I thought that he coached scared against them. I don't think that he necessarily coached to win against them. I think that he coached not to lose. And when you have a coach like that, you're just preventing yourself from winning the game. That's why I don't really like conservative coaches, because conservative coaches more often than not tend to lead the teams that end up underachieving against other teams during the game. Yeah, they might put in a good fight. They might make it competitive for a while, but at the end of the day, it's not going to work out because they're going to end up missing out on some opportunities to steal some points. And even though Alabama is not as good as they were when I was growing up, they're still a good football program. They're not a scrub team or anything like that. They're still a top 10, a top 15 team in college football. That's how good Alabama is. But as for LSU, why do I think that they can go ahead and beat Alabama? Well, I think it's rather simple, because LSU's offense is going to be the best offense that Bama's defense has faced all year long. And that's saying something, because Texas's offense is pretty good, but LSU's offense is even better. You want to talk about quarterback? Well, I got quarterback for you. There's Jayden Daniels. Jayden Daniels has been phenomenal for LSU this year. I expect him to have a big game against Alabama's defense this Saturday, not because of the fact that I am doubting Alabama's defense, but the fact that I am raving about Jayden Daniels. I mean, holy cow, Jayden Daniels, he's completing 73.1% of his passes. He's averaging 11.5 yards per attempt, so that means that he's really pushing the ball down the field a lot. He's already thrown for 25 touchdowns, only 3 picks, and he's only taken 17 sacks. So if you had to ask me how he's been playing phenomenal for LSU. I think that Jayden Daniels is one of the best players in the conference. I think that he elevates the entire LSU offense, and he's doing this in the Brian freaking Kelly offense. This is an offense that is not necessarily known to be quarterback friendly. So the fact that Jayden Daniels is putting up these numbers in Brian Kelly's system, kudos to Jayden Daniels. So you want to talk about top level quarterbacks in college football, you go to Jayden Daniels. I mean, we hear guys like Shedeur Sanders get more hype than anybody else each and every game. And although Shedeur Sanders is pretty good, Jayden Daniels is just as good as Shedeur Sanders, if not even better. That's how good Jayden Jayden Daniels is. I mean, they have already thrown for 25 touchdowns to only 3 interceptions. That tells me that you're protecting the football and that you're firing the explosives in the passing game. I expect LSU to carve up Alabama on defense. I expect LSU to make big plays on offense. I expect the running game to get going. I think the running game is underrated as well. They got a guy named Logan Diggs. He has 611 yards on the year. He's averaging almost 6 yards a carry. He's also scored 6 touchdowns on the year, so the running game is pretty effective. And you want to also rave about Jayden Daniels for his running ability? Well, I got you, because Jayden Daniels has added over 500 yards on the ground. He's even scored 5 rushing touchdowns. Jayden Daniels is truly a quarterback that can do it all. He's been a really good quarterback for LSU. I don't think enough people have been hyping him up. If LSU didn't already lose 2 games this year, this dude would be a Heisman Trophy candidate to win it. He would be the front runner for that. That's how good Jayden Daniels has been. And it's really a damn shame that LSU has already lost 2 games this year because of the fact that they lost to Florida State. Okay, there's no shame in losing to Florida State. Florida State is one of the top teams in college football. If the season ended today, they would make the college football playoff. I mean, Florida State hasn't even lost a game yet, so there's no crime done. I've been losing to Ole Miss. That was a bad loss. They cannot lose that kind of ball game to Ole Miss. You have the lead late in that game. Your offense scores 49 points. That's a game that you need to come away with a victory. You cannot let Ole Miss come back into that game and allow them to score 50 plus points. Ole Miss's offense is good, but they're not that good. And when LSU's defense is doing that kind of crap, yeah, you're not going to win 10 times out of 10. It's as simple as that. And because of those 2 losses, they're out of the college football playoff, because no college football playoff team has ever been in with 2 losses. All right, but I will say for LSU, just because they have 2 losses, that doesn't mean that they're going to go ahead and mail it in for the season. That means that they're going to go ahead and give it their all and screw over another team's chance of getting into the college football playoff, and that means screwing over Alabama's chances of making the college football playoff this year. Alabama this year has not necessarily been a great football team. They've been a good football team, but I haven't been like, whoa, this is the best team in college football kind of feel. Okay, I mean, their quarterback Jaylen Moreau, he's had an okay year. He's done some good things, some not good things as well. He does really good throwing the deep ball, but other than that, I'm not really too impressed with him as a passer. I know that he's a pretty good runner as well. He's already had 5 touchdowns on the ground, so that means that he is doing a good job running the football. And then, of course, they got the 2 running backs in Chase McClellan and Roydell Williams. That's going to be the key for Alabama if they want to go ahead and beat LSU. If you're Bama, you want to control the clock and take advantage of scoring opportunities when you can. And obviously, if you're LSU, you want to go ahead and hit the explosives in the passing game. You want to go ahead and make the big plays down the field. You want to be able to be explosive and force Alabama into a shootout, because we all know that if this goes into a shootout, LSU is not going to lose to Alabama. That's just the truth of the matter. Jaylen Moreau has been a little bit better than expected, but he has not necessarily been a good QB for Alabama. If that dude gets into a shootout, he's not going to be able to keep up with Jayden Daniels, and if that's the case, that means that Nick Saban is going to lose to Brian Kelly for the 2nd straight season. They lost to LSU because of the fact that LSU ran a 2-point conversion play in overtime. Brian Kelly went for the throw. He ended up getting it. He coached to win the game. And as for Alabama, yeah, they didn't necessarily make the plays to win that game. They missed out on a 2-point conversion earlier in the game that forced them to go to overtime. Had they made the 2-point conversion, that game would have never gone to overtime, and Alabama would have beaten LSU. But that was a better Alabama team last year at the quarterback position. Last year, they had Bryce Young. Bryce Young was one of the top quarterbacks in the country. Now they have Jaylen Moreau. Now, Jaylen Moreau is pretty good in his own right, but he ain't no Bryce Young. And when that's going to happen, that means LSU is going to go ahead and take advantage of those opportunities to score down the field, which is exactly what I have happening. I got Jayden Daniels going off this Saturday. He's going to have a phenomenal game. Malik Neighbors is going to show up as well at the wide receiver position. Don't forget about Brian Thomas Jr. I expect those 2 wide receivers to eat big time. And of course, you can't forget about their tight end Mason Taylor. He's been incredibly underrated. He's had a really good year for LSU. I know the stats don't say that he's had a good year, but if you watch the tape, he has shown up big time. So I'm expecting LSU's offense to be explosive. As for Alabama's team, I think that Jaylen Moreau is going to play a solid game. I think the 2 running backs in Chase McClellan and Roydell Williams, they're going to do a decent job controlling the line of scrimmage. But when you have a quarterback that makes explosive plays the way that Jayden Daniels does, I don't really think Alabama stands a chance against LSU, because LSU has the better quarterback in this matchup by a country mile. I think it's going to be a shootout. I think it's going to be a good game. I think that ultimately LSU is going to win this game by the score of 38-35. So I got LSU 38, Alabama 35. I think it's going to be a great all-around game. Ultimately, though, I see Alabama scoring a late touchdown and converting a 2-point conversion, which is going to make it a 3-point ball game. But other than that, I think it's going to be a great all-around game. I think LSU is going to win by 3. I think that Jayden Daniels is going to play phenomenal. I think that he's going to outplay Jaylen Moreau. I think that Alabama, they're going to do a decent job running the football, but it's going to be hard to commit to the run game when you're going to be losing throughout the game. I expect LSU to control a lead on Alabama throughout the game. So that's why LSU will beat Alabama for the second straight season as Brian Kelly will deliver a coaching masterclass on Nick Saban. Remember, go ahead and subscribe to Sports Guy Talking, like the video, and please comment down below. If you guys do that, I may shout you guys out in my Instagram story every Monday. That'll be for the @Dustin Tran Instagram account. Make sure to follow me on Instagram @Dustin Tran and Sports Guy Talking. Also, go follow me on Twitter @Dustin Tran. Again, go ahead and do those things that I just told you guys to go do. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the content that was just produced. Peace out. I hope you enjoyed that video. Want more Sports Guy Talking, the home of great sports content? Make sure you click that subscribe button to get the latest from Sports Guy Talking. Go ahead and like the video, comment down below, check the description box on the video in order to follow my Instagram and Twitter. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from the YouTube channel Sports Guy Talking.